Hey, what's up everybody? It's TrapGoku, YouTube's favorite Super Saiyan, and welcome back to another live video commentary. Today we're probably going to be reviewing one of the best games of 2020, and honestly a strong contender for Game of the Year, as probably a strong contender for Game of the Generation. We're talking about that Ghost of Tsushima, the PS4 exclusive by Sucker Punch Studios, the same guys who brought you Infamous. Let's get into the game, and without further ado, but before we do that, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Doing these three things helps my channel grow, and it also increases the quality and quantity in which I can give you guys videos. Also, if you want to keep my lights on Patreon, link will be in the description box below. So, what is Ghost of Tsushima? Well, Ghost of Tsushima is probably one of the most elegant and fully realized concepts in games I've ever seen in a really long time on the PlayStation 4. Ghost of Tsushima's story involves the tale of Jin Sakai, a young samurai who's caught in the midst of the Mongol War in the 1400s, who sees his uncle captured and most of his samurai brothers destroyed in one foul swoop on Komodo Beach by the Mongols. Jin is then gravely injured and left for dead, and saved by a thief named Yuna. Him and Yuna, after learning some assassin skills, go on a quest to not only free Yuna's brother, but liberate the rest of Tsushima Island, and also fight off the Mongol invasion and keep them from reaching the mainland. One of the things that, that very interested me in the story was, and kept me going in the story, was seeing the lengths Jin was going to go to protect his honor, and the consequences that kind of came with, or not really the consequences, but the moral strains that came with, forsaking his honor. Because throughout the game, by using assassin tactics and, choosing to use a more stealthy approach to combat, even though it can net you a huge advantage, especially when it comes to killing bosses and or killing the leaders of the different, Mongol war camps that you'll find, every time you would do something like this, sometimes a cutscene will play out where Jin will kind of internally question his honor as a samurai, because it's highly looked down upon to sneakily stab your enemy in the back, as he was always taught to look his enemies in the eye when he's going to strike them down. And to see that conflict within a character and to see it so fully realized, I feel like Ghost of Tsushima does a really good job. Also, using an open world to kind of let the player dictate, how they want to play the game and how they want to choose their outcome with Jin is also a very good idea, because it lets the player feel like they're actively a part of the world. And there were a lot of times where I would really feel like, Jin's conflicts were my conflicts. Now, as for gameplay, as I mentioned earlier, Ghost of Tsushima is an open world game where you'll be doing missions and completing different objectives to unlock new areas and to ultimately unlock new gear to help you ease your traverses and battles throughout the game. Combat revolves around using a steady supply of weapons such as sword, your main sword, your crossbow, your bow and arrow, which can shoot out arrows, fire arrows, your longbow, which you get later in the game, which can shoot out explosive arrows and different things like that. You also have poisonous darts, kunai, and using all these things in junction to, like I said, fight out the Mongols and complete your objective, whether that be freeing people or liberating war camps. And also, the one thing I like about gameplay is the flow that can be achieved. So like I said, Jin's main weapon is going to be his sword, and Jin can switch between 4 stances. The stances being the stone stance, which is highly effective against enemies with swords. The water stance, which is highly effective against enemies with shields. The wind stance, which is highly effective against enemies with staffs or bow items. The moon stance, which is highly effective against heavy enemies or your bigger brutish enemies. And then you have the ghost stance, which you activate after attaining a certain amount of kills without taking any damage, and these turn into one-shot kills against roughly 4 or 5 opponents. So the game usually comes down to really mastering all 4 of these different stances. It's switching between them on the fly, which I think is really cool. And it turns the combat, once you kind of like elevate in combat, it turns into this beautiful dance of death that Jin engages in, and it looks very pretty. Also, all of like, you know what I'm saying, the samurai, like, you know what I'm saying, styles and like how Jin fights are very authentic. You can actually find a lot of these techniques all on YouTube being done by experts, and I think it's very interesting to look at, guys. All in all, the gameplay is very satisfying. Cutting, killing, running on walls, you know what I'm saying, sneaking, everything feels great. I never really had a problem with sneaking. I never had a problem with, like, you know, traversing over the environment. The parkour system felt pretty natural. It was so good that they didn't even really have to explain anything. You know, if you feel like you can jump on it, you can jump on it. And it felt like it was so crafted so well, and I feel like that's one of the strongest points of this game, is that the attention to detail and level of craft that goes into this game and that went into this game was amazing. Also, the graphics. The graphics on Ghost of Tsushima are beautiful. Playing this game on PS4, it really, like, honestly really showed the power of the console. And I have to say that it is one of the most beautiful games I've ever played on the console. Seeing like Japan in its full flourish, and this is me playing on the PS4 Pro, seeing Japan in full bloom was really beautiful. And, you know, seeing like the animations as fluid as they played out, it just really felt like I was out there living a samurai. Don't even get me started on the armor. The armor looked beautiful. My favorite armor set was Gosaku's armor, and boy, do you look like a badass when you max that out. Really, I would say put some points into maxing, put some supplies and resources into maxing that out. Another thing I really had to say I like about the game is the resource management. You know, I never really felt like I didn't have enough stuff or I was too far away from getting stuff, because the game honestly encourages you to explore and find different things and find fox camps and find bamboo strikes, and always be on the lookout to increase your resolve and different things like that to make Jin a better samurai. Because at the beginning of the game you kind of feel a little weak, look like you feel bottom of the barrel, but as the game goes on you become this brutal murdering force of just chaos, and it's just awesome. Oh man. And also, with Ghost of Tsushima, there is some more content that they released later on down in the lifespan. So, if you guys aren't aware, there is Ghost of Tsushima Legends, which is the multiplayer. And I have to say, for a game that's so great with single player, I didn't really expect much of the multiplayer. I honestly thought it was kind of going to be something that's kind of tacked on, but boy was I wrong. The multiplayer of Ghost of Tsushima is probably some of the funnest, you know, multiplayer I've played. You get to choose between 4 different classes, each taking 4 strengths and skills from the core game but magnifying them, and you complete co-op missions and objectives to unlock points to get new gear, stronger builds of your character, and different things like that. Having only just started playing the multiplayer, I'm still addicted to it. It's a lot of fun, and I really recommend, if you're going to get Ghost of Tsushima, you also try out some of the different modes like the multiplayer and the New Game Plus mode as well. All in all, I have to say that Ghost of Tsushima should paint the idea of a hallmark in gaming. It's what happens when you take something, a craft that's been around for thousands of years, and you really take your time and create something beautiful. It's very well crafted. Every mechanic in this game feels very well thought out, very well placed. It works smooth. It's like butter. It runs like butter, you know what I'm saying? It looks beautiful, and there's just so much fun to have. I'm about to start my New Game Plus playthrough as soon as I 100% the rest of the map. And yeah, you know, I'm looking forward to trying out different play styles, trying to be more of a ghost, because in my first playthrough, I was more of a samurai. And it wasn't really till the end game that I started kind of playing like a ghost and seeing a lot more of the advantages of the differences in play styles. And for a game like this, it really does, like, it encourages the player to experiment and find what works for them in what situation, so that they can, you know, yield the best results. And that's something that I really like about this game. Like I said, this game is a masterpiece. I think it definitely is worth the $60 price tag. If you don't already have this game on PlayStation 4 and you have a PlayStation 4, I don't know why you don't have this game. Go get this game right now. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. This has been another TrapGoku review. Like I said, I'll have my Let's Play and the links to all that in the description or somewhere around here. I'm still learning how to do that, guys. And thank you guys so much for coming through. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and peace, you guys.